Please put your hands together for Graham Callis. Okay, so over the course of several months, my goth girlfriend, Jane, had systematically gone through a campaign of converting me from a dorky college kid to a dorky goth college kid. Black clothes, Doc Martens shoes, metal all over me, dyed my hair. It was an abomination. And I had quite soured on the relationship, and then took me about a month to actually build up enough willpower to end the relationship. And I had picked my time to do this. There was an event going on at our student union, and we had some friends there, some mutual friends there, and my idea was to end this relationship, and then I could just slink into the crowd and kind of disappear. Now, one thing I'd like you all to know about Jane is that before she and I became involved, after her first semester at college, she was in a horrific car accident. She suffered a lot of trauma to her head, which put her into a coma. She had about a 20% chance of survival, and she lived, obviously. But she didn't see it that way, and she had told me several times that she felt that it wasn't a 20% chance that she lived and she made it. It was an 80% chance that she should have died, and she didn't. So there were some serious self-esteem issues, probably depression that she was dealing with. And so as I was regurgitating the words to end this relationship with her, it was not unexpected that she would come back at me with a lot of anger and just really nasty words for me. And so I sat there for a while and took it, and then she got up and stormed off. And I sat there and processed that conversation, and something red flagged in my head. And my mission, or my plan to kind of slink into the crowd at this event and find my friends became find my friends and let's go find her, because I wasn't comfortable with the way that she stormed off and some of the things that she told me. We fanned out to some of the places that I thought maybe she would go on campus. And I was going to make my way back to her dormitory. I stopped at the corner store, the little convenience store we had at the Union, and I asked the student working there, I said, have you seen a girl all dressed in black, pale skin, multicolored hair? She probably would have came by here maybe 15, 20 minutes ago. He said, oh yeah, she stopped in here and she bought a box of no-dose pills, which was caffeine pills. And I thought, what is she going to try and stay up all night, or what's her goal here? Now, as a funny aside, no-dose was sold on campus at this convenience store, and it was also at one point given out as part of our welcoming packets on campus. And this was a bad idea because to pull an all-nighter one time, I took 4 of them and drank 8 cups of coffee. After the exam, I got back to my dorm room, and I stood in the middle of my dorm room, and I just started bawling. My roommate looked at me, and he said, are you okay? And I said, I don't know if I'm okay. It totally messed me up. Why? So they stopped that practice after my second year there. I got to her dorm. I got let in by her roommate. I told her roommate and the RA, the resident assistant, what was going on. I went down to the dormitory lounge. There was a kitchen off of the lounge, and that's where I found Jane. She was standing over the sink. The box was open. She wouldn't talk to me. She wouldn't tell me how many of these she had taken. It wasn't long after that campus security walked in behind me into the lounge. The RA must have called campus security, let them know what was going on. And we walked Jane back up to her dorm room. While her RA and her roommate sat with her, campus security asked me to step out in the hallway. Now, I don't know if this guy was a big Law and Order fan or something, but he decided to ask me a couple of questions that I wasn't real comfortable with. He said, well, why is she in this state of mind right now? And I said, well, because I just broke up with her about half an hour ago. And he said, did you give her those pills? And I said, really? No, I didn't give her those pills. She bought them on her way back to the dormitory. He said, well, okay, she won't tell us how many she took, so I've called emergency services. They're going to be here. And I said, okay, she's in a really fragile state of mind right now. Can we have them come up without their sirens on? Because I'm worried that that's going to just set her off again. He said, well, I'll see what I can do. It was only a few minutes later that I heard the sirens off in the distance, heralding to all of the college students on campus, come out one and all to the gothest show on earth. And as I walked the red carpet of embarrassment to the ambulance, I couldn't help but wonder, how in the hell did it get to this point? In the back of the ambulance on the way to the hospital, Jane asked me several times, is this it? Are we done? Are you leaving me? And despite the neediness that she was exuding at that moment, and I had this really deep-seated caretaking behavior at that time, I did not reverse my actions from earlier that evening. And it's a good thing that my willpower was as strong that night, because when I look back on that, it really wasn't her, it was me. And I don't mean that in a sense for the end of our relationship, but I mean it more related to the beginning of it, because what I was doing was I was using our relationship to fill a void that I had in myself. A lack of identity, no self-esteem, fear of being lonely, fear of being alone. I was using that relationship to fill those voids. And I was going into that relationship without any kind of self-love. And honestly, if you don't love yourself, how in the hell can you possibly love somebody else? Thank you.
Thank you, Graham.